All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thanks for joining us again for another edition of our cybersecurity mentoring, a group, a platform where we learn, we share, and we connect. I'm just trying to run through some basic introduction in case you are joining us for the first time. A cybersecurity mentoring group is where we bring experienced professionals to share about their journey and also to discuss specific topics that we think will be beneficial to the community. We're a young group, actually. We started just less than a year ago, and on our LinkedIn page currently, we have over 740 group members, and we're having people showing interest in cybersecurity every day, whether in the cybersecurity mentoring group or in other group. And we thought that it's important that people understand some basics about cybersecurity. And the best way really is to bring people who have been there and who have done that. People who have had some experience and maybe they've also created something that we can learn from. So we thought that we can bring them to this platform to then share from their experience, have some chats, and then open the floor for people to have who have questions to ask. Essentially, what we are hoping to do is that people will be guided correctly, whether they are in cybersecurity and they are growing, or they are in other profession and they want to switch to cybersecurity. It's always very good. Some do not have the background and they want to find out how they can make that switch maybe in a year's time, and what can they do right now. And this platform provides that opportunity. And so today also we have found another person that would like to share. We have a topic to discuss, but also would like to, we try to learn how they started, what they did, what they're doing, and how they got to where they are now. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. And usually we go through some basic introduction just for people that are joining for the first time or for people who want to know more. So we have, in 2024, we published Sought After Cybersecurity Skills, Competences and Certifications. It's a compilation of jobs, cybersecurity jobs, published in Nigeria, in Canada, in United Kingdom, and also in United States. What we have done is to pick those jobs, identify the ones that organizations are really, that are common, most common amongst all. We identified 20 of them. We also identified the top 5 as the top 5 cybersecurity. We then went a step further to exactly document what employers are looking for those jobs. For instance, what are the skills they expect someone who is a penetration tester, for instance, to have? What are the skills they expect a security analyst to have? So we documented those. We documented it across basic, advanced, and I think up to expert level. Then also we looked at, I think we looked at about over 2,000 jobs, and we looked at what are the security tools that are common. Security tools that employers thought that people should know before they join them. So we identified those and we documented, I think, around 20 or so. Then what are the certifications that employers are looking for? We identified those ones and also we documented them. So they would help you to know exactly how to navigate your direction. For instance, maybe you're thinking around what certification should I go for? Or what cybersecurity tool or security tool should I go learn? We also documented the cybersecurity frameworks. So which of the cybersecurity frameworks do employers think that you should know? NIST, for instance, was a major cybersecurity framework, and we documented that also. In that, I think we documented about 20 or so cybersecurity framework that you should know, so that when you are going for interview, questions may come up from those areas. And again, those are the frameworks that organizations are used to govern cybersecurity. And so if you haven't looked at it, it's pinned on our LinkedIn page. You can download it from there. This is the second edition. We had one in 2023. The second item on your right-hand side is the common vulnerability and exposure that was published in 2024. Over 40,000 common vulnerabilities were published. And from these publications, there are insights. For instance, what are the top vulnerabilities that the attackers are actually looking at? So we documented that, ranked them by product, by risk level, and you would be able to gain some insight. Some of the things that you can do with this document is that if you're a cybersecurity professional and you have the product guys or the engineers that are developing product, you will be able to tell them the vulnerabilities that are in the wild that attackers are exploiting, so they can build their system and make it stronger than those vulnerabilities. And we've documented the top vulnerabilities, and also we also documented how you can mitigate those vulnerabilities from the common weakness enumeration. Also, we publish it on title link the CVE to the CWE. Also, it's on our LinkedIn page for download. The last item I'd like to introduce is the cybersecurity growth plan. I developed this from the first publication, which is the sought after cybersecurity skills, competencies, and certifications. What essentially was done is that all of those expectations of employers, how do you put them into actions? So for instance, maybe employers expect you to have a basic knowledge of ethical hacking. Then how do you go ahead to then learn those things? So I believe that the year you can calendarize it, break it down into 4 and identify for instance, the skills that you like to improve on, new courses you would like to take up, new certifications or certifications you would like to write. And as a cybersecurity professional, it's important that you also attend seminars or webinars. Then you can put those that you like to attend. So this is currently February. We are almost done with Q1 of 2025. And you can actually ask yourself, what have you done so far in January, in February, and this is the last week. We're entering the last week in February next week. And what have you done so far? And this actually helps you to track that progress. Certifications you would like to write, you just put it there. And you can do that for the entire quarter. And there are more topics on the right-hand side, which is if, for instance, you do not really need network security basics, and what you want to look for is endpoint security solutions. You can document it there and then look for the materials. Don't forget also that we have artificial intelligence, the likes of Grok on Twitter, the likes of Meta AI, the likes of ChatGPT. There are also sources of where you can learn a lot of things. If you go to that platform and you just type network security basics, they'll give you a lot of things, even references that you can go check out. And LinkedIn is also a huge platform. YouTube is there also for you to get some of these things. If you put any of these and you just had endpoint security solutions training, you find a lot of things. What this does for you is it helps you to create a track record. If you go to an interview and they ask you, how are you developing yourself? And you tell them, I have a 2025 cybersecurity growth plan. They would be wowed by that commitment, that you are intentional about your journey in cybersecurity. Well, that's all about the intro. In case you are joining us for the first time, welcome. And today we want to talk about a very important topic. And I reached out to, so as I usually do, I look at profiles on LinkedIn, and then I reach out to people that I think that we can learn from based on their experience and their journey. So I saw this young man, and I thought that there's something that we can learn from him. So I reached out to him, and he was generous that he'll be glad to join us today. So everybody, please help me welcome Cyril Okonkwo. Cyril is a penetration tester, offensive security manager. He works with one of the big four, and I want you to take every opportunity to extract from him today. I work with a lot of consultants, and I don't let them go scot-free when I have to learn from them, because they are loaded, right? Consultants are loaded, and I extract as much value as I can from them. And you have the opportunity today. If you have not worked with consultants before, you have the opportunity today, and I believe that you'll be able to get a lot. Cyril, welcome, and thank you for coming today.
Thanks, Micah, for the warm welcome and the introduction.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah.
All right. So let's get down into the conversation. So the first thing I try to do is to establish some kind of a common ground with our speaker. So we try to learn from their experience. Sometimes when people tell their stories, you get motivated, because on this call we have people who want to switch into cybersecurity. I don't know why, but I've heard that some people think that that's the new oil. So they want to come to cybersecurity, and we need many. We need a lot of people to come to cybersecurity. And we have people that are in cybersecurity and they want to grow. So I just want to learn from your experience. What has it been like, your journey into cybersecurity?
Okay. So my journey in cybersecurity has been very, very involving and also very, very jam-packed. Let me use that word. I started first of all, my background is in electrical engineering. That's my educational background. But I've always had this flair for computer-related activities, and I'm also very curious. I used to think I lot with electronics. Even I still do that now. Part of my hobby is in Internet of Things. I do electronics on the side as a hobby, embedded systems. So I've always been playing around with computer systems, and then I think the major turnaround was during my NYSC. So for those of you who are familiar with that program, the 1 year mandatory, you know, youth service core program. That's when I actually started to tend towards that mindset that I think I want to specialize in cybersecurity, and not just cybersecurity, but I think I want to be an ethical hacker. And the reason why I wanted to be an ethical hacker is because I found that I was always curious about how things worked. I wasn't comfortable not knowing how something works. I wasn't. There's a way people usually explain it. For people who like to arrange things in a particular order, maybe on a table, but not like that. I like to know how things worked. If I had a phone in my hand, I would be curious about why something didn't work the way they did. And even I still do that now. I try to encourage people that when you're learning and something is not working out, don't just give up and say, "Oh, it's not working out. I'm tired." Just try and put some more effort. So I kept on with that mentality for a while. And I started to, the first thing I did for myself was I started accumulating study resources that would steer me along that specific paths of ethical hacking. I started gathering books because I love to read books. Because I feel that books have a structured way of presenting knowledge, and also you won't have knowledge gaps, right? Just recently that you might have videos that help to that are very detailed, but books have always been detailed, and they help to clear knowledge gaps I have. So I started reading a whole lot, and then I started practicing. Then I think I even had a challenge using a laptop, so I had to. I think I was in a tablet then. I did a lot of research, tried to install tools that I would be using to learn on the tablets. At some point, I think I was even writing code on my phone, right? Because I just wanted to maximize the resources I had at the point, not to grumble or let myself down, or maybe think that, oh, because I don't have this or I don't have that, I can't make progress. So I maximized the resources I had, and I was actually making progress. So when I finally got a laptop, I think it was just smooth from there. I already had experience, right? There are many ways of getting experience. You could get experience from doing uh, a job, a full-time job with an institution or organization, but you can also get experience just playing around with things, right? As long as that experience or skill is it translates to something that is valuable in the real world. There is no problem with that actually. So I gathered those skills, and then I landed. My first role actually was as a network engineer. I didn't even start as a cybersecurity person. It was a network engineering role. I did that for about a year and 6 months before I transitioned to a cybersecurity consultant. So by then, I already had good knowledge of networks. I was teaching also. I usually taught people how to use network devices, Cisco network devices, and all. I used to be a networking trainer too for a while, so that also helped build my skills. So after that, it was just a ride. It was just all about gathering more skills, understanding what the goal is in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years, looking for people who aligned with those goals on the internet, maybe on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and all, trying to bounce off ideas with them, and then looking for organizations that share that same uh, goal, and then trying to find a way to get in. So I was able to land the role at some point with Digital Jewels, currently known as Digital Jewels Africa, as I was there for a while, and then I also got a role as a senior security engineer with Prunedge. Uh, from there, I spent some time with a bank before I found myself where I currently am. So it's been an interesting journey, with, of course, with plenty of projects and plenty of real world experiences. It's not, of course, you're going to have some challenges here and there, right? Sometimes you have to deprive yourself of some privileges just so that you'll be able to make good progress. Okay, let me not over. Let me just
Yeah,
pause here
that
for
was
now.
good.
I'll pass
That was
the
good.
ball back to Micah.
Yeah. So
Thanks.
yeah, I think it's interesting that your first role wasn't even cybersecurity, but you find yourself back into what you made up your mind. But my thought is during your NYC, so for those that don't know, NYC is National Service Youth Service Corps, is a program in Nigeria that every university or every graduate must partake in to serve the fatherland. So you are posted to different parts of the country to work, whether as a teacher in schools or any establishment of government and private institutions. So it's 1 year mandatory program before you enter into the labor market. Now my question is, so I know people decide to get into penetration testing or that deeper level of cyber, maybe sometime later in their career. But you decided to do that in your NYC. In fact, you didn't, according to what you just said now, you didn't even have computer. You're trying this on your
Exactly.
phone. Yeah. So my question is two in one. One is that where somebody will say you have engineering background, maybe that's why it is easy for you, right? Second thing is why exactly? So I know you say you are curious, you love to know why things are working the way they are working. But somebody can say, well, maybe because you have your engineering background, so maybe there are people who studied accounting or study biology or any course and they are thinking of penetration testing. And Cyril just mentioned that he's got engineering background. Engineering background, no wonder. I want you to dispel that, in quotes, no wonder that people may have in terms of what did you do once immediately, how did you decide that it's penetration testing? Then when you decided, are there things that can be done by anybody, irrespective of whether you have computer science background or engineering background or even sciences, anything that anybody can be done to get themselves to, what you did to get yourself into the field?
Okay. Well, before I even go into a deeper explanation for that, I'll just say that I have senior colleagues in the industry who I look up to that didn't have a technical background as such. When I say technical background is STEM related courses like mathematics, engineering, and co. I have people who had the background in geology, in something related to agriculture, that still transition to cybersecurity and are still doing excellently well. So, in fact, there is a possibility that, the same way you could be living very close to your workplace, but you still come late. That's how, if you're not careful with your so-called engineering background, you would, if you don't actually work on yourself, you won't take the stage. You'll be left behind because you banked on that background. And I'm still going to maybe talk about that if I have the opportunity during this session. So without having a background in engineering or STEM related courses, trust me, it just takes passion and willingness, and of course, a little bit of discipline too, because you might be interested, you might be passionate about it, you might talk about it for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, but you have not acted on it. So the moment you start acting on it deliberately and start making it a part of your goals, I think you start making a little bit of progress. And then what made me choose pen testing as my path, like I said, because I'm a curious person. In fact, I will give you an example. I wouldn't want to reveal too much information because there was this exploits that was an exploit is just a way to make a system do what it's not supposed to do, take advantage of a weakness within a system. I think there was a company, a telecom company then that there was an exploit that was flying around on the internet, and you just see some people they would put some IP addresses, some numbers somewhere, they'll put some stuff, and then they would make use of some services that they're not supposed to make use of without making some kind of payments. So I got interested in that and I was curious. But I was curious not because I wanted to actually benefit from it, but I was more interested in why is this possible in the first place? Why was this possible? And what could be done for this to stop? At some point, you find out that it has stopped. How did they stop? What happened? What did they do? So these are some of the deeper, conversations I was having with myself. And at some point in my career, I later understood why that was possible and how it was even fixed. So I wasn't curious again. So I just had that, and like I said, I surrounded myself with everything related to ethical hacking. I surrounded myself with everything related to ethical hacking. My social media, the books I read, most of them were around ethical hacking, this, that. I read a lot of books at the start of my career. There are many books now. People show me and I said, I've read it. Someone showed me, say, I've read it. And you'll be like, wow. So I read a lot of books. I surrounded myself with that just to build that foundation so that I won't struggle later. So, Mike, I don't know if I missed any
Yeah. I think
question.
you've actually mentioned the point really. You mentioned
Okay.
passion, willingness, and discipline, which is irrespective of your background, you can actually do what Cyril is doing now. And I like the example you shared on, in terms of you can be living close to your office and still be going to the office late.
Exactly.
Yeah, same way you can actually we have computer science or computer engineering background. If the discipline, the passion, and the willingness, if it's not there, you will probably not not be able to do what you're supposed to do. Thank you. Let's get into our conversation proper. So now this word is common, and I'm sure that a lot of people are probably not saying it for the first time. But I want you to break it down in terms of what exactly is offensive security.
Mm. The funny thing is that the industry can be very funny. There's a possibility I might not even know the full answer to this question, but I'll try my best to provide you what the industry currently sees as offensive security. So offensive security is just the um, collection of methodologies, the process of doing things that relates to attacking a system to find weaknesses so that it can be secured. Processes, methodologies, activities, courses, exams, certifications, right? All of them that have to do with securing an organization by attacking it, right? So if you look at the news, you see a lot of um, heists. I know the popular one that happened, which is that of the crypto exchange. So, but you see a lot of news that this organization was hacked and something was stolen and all that. So, in offensive security, it's a proactive way of finding vulnerabilities before the malicious guys do it for you, right? And it's a very I usually say it's a very creative way of helping to secure an organization by wearing or walking in the shoes of an attacker, right? You walk in the shoes of an attacker, you think like an attacker. You have a padlock that's is supposed to secure the door to a room or to a house, and then that padlock is just sitting in front of you and it's locked and you don't have the key. So as an attacker, wearing that hat with that offensive mindset, you'll be like, how would I get through this door now that I don't have the key? How would an attacker do it? What are the things I can do? Can I pick the lock? How long do I have to actually pick this lock? Is it feasible? These are some of the things that you would ask yourself. And in the process of doing these things, you're actually carrying out offensive security. Offensive security has so many domains: penetration testing, red team operations, purple teaming, breach and attack simulation. There are lots of names, job titles, job roles, specializations. under offensive security. But it's just a broad term that talks about having the attacker mindset, having that proactive mentality to secure an organization by attacking the infrastructure and assets before the bad guys do it for you.
Excellent, thank you. I think you've explained it in a very simple and relatable way. Anyway, if you have questions, so we give room for questions at the end of the program, so you can type your question as Cyril is providing context and explanation. You can, if there's something that you'd like to learn or you'd like to ask, you can just put it in the chat. If it is a question for this session, I will read it to him. But if it is not, we will wait at the end of the session and then take all the questions. The second thing it's almost like you have to imagine, from what you have explained, it's almost like you have to imagine that someone is going to attack you, and then you start attacking yourself in some sort of way. Now, my question is around, why do organizations actually go this route of either hiring people or creating roles that are termed offensive in offensive security domain, or they are maybe looking for people to come and help them? Maybe they hire a consultant to come. Why do they go through that process of trying to even attack themselves?
Okay, yeah, I'll give there's this popular graphic that was flying around at some point where the graphic contained the attacker with the black hats. I think one of his eyes were covered in the graphic. And then you had a whole cybersecurity team with different specializations. Some people were saying, have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done that? And the attacker was at one point studying them and just observing them. And at some point, the attacker shook his head and was like, these people are not looking for me. These people are not looking for me yet. So I'm going to have my way, right? In order to find out, in order to be able to discover certain kinds of security challenges that organizations face, you have to look at what attackers do when they actually target an organization. Why do they do what they do in that particular way? What kind of tools do they use? Can we use the same tools? What kind of technologies, techniques, or tactics, do they use social engineering tactics where they have to send you an email to deceive you to click on a link so that they can harvest your credentials? Is that the tactic they use? So if that is a common tactic, let's start doing it within our organization before the attackers do, so we can raise the security awareness culture within the organization. And that's the mindset, with offensive security, that when you have people who are offensive security analysts or engineers within an organization, they would help you. Those are like internal consultants to the organization. They will help you in a proactive manner to begin to test your organization's infrastructure, your systems, right? If you just base your security program on a reactive manner, meaning that you're just waiting, maybe you put your antivirus to block malware or viruses, you put some other security solutions in place like firewall, and you just put it and you just wait, hoping that hoping that nobody is going to come around, right? It's not enough. It's not enough. You need to go a step further to confirm, are these security solutions that you place, the antivirus, is it working as it's supposed to? Right? You're not going to wait for the bad guy to come and test them for you. You have to do the testing yourself, right? So this is why organizations hire these roles. It could be internal, it could be external. They could hire you as an internal employee, providing this service as an internal consultant, and it could also be outsourced to maybe a consulting firm. So That's why organizations have to, seek the expertise of offensive security
Thank you.
guys. Yeah.
Thank you. As you were, as you're describing what organizations do and why they do it, I'm sure some people are thinking, oh, maybe I can go and do something tomorrow in my office or next week. Please, please do not, because
not allowed.
yeah, it's not
Not
allowed.
allowed.
And I'm hoping that Cyril will share, because there's a reason he didn't say he was interested in hacking. He said ethical hacking, and maybe later, as we have time, you'll be able to throw more light into what people can do or cannot do. Whether even somebody put their server somewhere, you can see it. Even though it is vulnerable, what you cannot do, even to your own organization. I think we would like to hear from that. But now, you have excited a lot of people that they are thinking this is a big, for me, I think cybersecurity is a in quotes, is a very sexy word, very attractive. But penetration testing is more attractive. People like the idea that they can break into something. I remember when somebody was saying that, the idea that I can sit in my house and I can get into a bank. So the field looks very attractive, and somebody is saying, I would like to try this thing out. Now, my question is, I want you to run through if the personality of someone who wants to go into penetration, not just cybersecurity, but penetration testing. What are the things they require, whether education, whether experience, whether certification? Maybe we'll spend a lot of time on this in this section, because it looks like a lot of questions. First, the person that wants to go into offensive security and penetration testing, or all of those kind of roles, what are the experience that is required? What are the education? What are the certifications? Also, maybe more importantly, what mindset should a person that wants to go into cybersecurity penetration testing, what are the qualities they should possess?
Okay. First, you need to be patient. You need to be patient. You need to be patient because you won't just become an expert overnight. It takes a while. You have to build up your skills. You have to spend some time studying and then trying to build those skills. In terms of education, it doesn't really matter. IT cybersecurity it's the way it is now. You don't need to really have that background for you to be able to get something out of a career in cyber. You can actually take courses, take certifications, do self-study, do instructor-led courses that would help you hone those skills. In terms of the maybe courses, certifications courses, they are important. It could help you clear up. It just help you. It could train you in a specific part. Maybe you want to learn how to secure web applications by attacking them. You could go and take courses for web application penetration testing or security. You want to learn how to secure Active Directory, different kinds of technologies. There are courses for all that. I won't be able to mention specific courses or certifications so that I won't be promoting anyone. But trust me, if you
Sorry,
Google on the
Siri.
internet,
Sorry, Siri. I guess that people not so it's not promoting, but I
okay,
think maybe people may like to know.
okay,
Again, so nobody is sponsoring us, so
okay.
we're not offending anybody if we call their certification. We're not going to. Nobody is saying why did you call them. So it's just for people to maybe specifically what can they go away with and say they want to go and do tomorrow. So if anyone comes to mind, you can just share.
Okay, I'm going to be very broad then.
Yeah.
Some of these courses can be pricey, while some are also affordable. So I'll just mention them as a mix. We have SANS. SANS courses are quite pricey. We have offensive security, also pricey. Offensive security, they are the makers of the OSCP certification and all the certifications around that. So, of course, you know they could be pricey. You have TCM security. TCM security has a lot of nice courses. They have the practical network penetration tester and so many other nice courses you could take, which are affordable. You have hack the box certifications. Hack the box certifications are very good. They are tailored to specific parts, which you could also take. They are in between affordable and pricey. You have altered security. Altered security, the makers of certified red team professional and certified red team experts. You also have that option. You have cyber warfare labs. Cyber warfare labs, they have courses and exams for different parts, purple teaming, red teaming, and they can start you from the beginning. For instance, I think for their beginner offensive parts, you have the certified red team analyst, the CRT that you could take before you start talking about higher level courses in evasion and all that stuff. And then you have other ones. You have Maldev Academy. That's some very advanced sets. You have 0 Point Security, the makers of the Certified Red Team Operator 1 and Certified Red Team Lead. That's the second aspect. You have some other ones. There's a lot actually. Some of them offer certifications. Some of them don't offer certifications, only courses. But it doesn't really matter. I think the most important thing is what are you going to take away from the course? And I used to tell people that there's this debate all the time. I'm not going to talk about that debate here because I think it's stretched for too much, which is do you need certification or not? If you have the money, do it. If you don't have the money, leave it. Take the one that you have the money for. That's just my own advice. But make sure that while you're taking the course, you're looking at that course like an investment in yourself, and make sure you maximize the value from it so that you can actually showcase it. You could do a project at the end of the course that you can showcase to someone. Is that this is what I was able to do. And then start building up on that knowledge. Right? Sometimes you take a course and it transforms your career. It happens. Right. So that's just what I'm going to say about that. Thanks.
Thank you. I want to maybe ask one more question on this in this area. So earlier I spoke about the mindset, and the first thing you mentioned is patience, right? That
Yeah.
the penetration tester must be so it's not magical like you just go into the system and you're able to get into another system. Why is patience like a very important aspect of penetration tester?
Well, it is because even let's even say you've moved up from a novice beginner to an intermediate level role, you still need to have a lot of patience because sometimes you'll be on a penetration test project and things are not just going the way they're supposed to. One of the one of the one of the greatest moments of a penetration tester is when they've gotten some kind of administrative access to a system. There's this adrenaline rush that comes with it. So if if you've been on a project for a while and you've not been able to break into anything, there's no adrenaline rush for you, which means that you will need to be very, very patient. So the most important thing is, yes, at some point you want to hack this and that and log into different places, but you should also remember the objective of being an ethical hacker. The objective is to thoroughly test systems and find issues. Aside patience, you also need to be curious. You need to be curious and passionate about what you want. I would say pension testing is not for everybody. There is no need trying to hide it. Just like other specializations in different fields might be more suited based on people's passions and interests. Same thing goes for offensive security. So if you don't like seeing black screens, command line prompts. You don't like to type commands. You don't see yourself typing commands, right? Because that's what we do in this field. We type commands a lot. So if you don't see yourself doing that, maybe you can try other specializations, because it's a kind of stuff you need to be interacting at a very low level with software, with computers, with devices. You have to go low level, right? That's that's when I say you have to be patient, because sometimes you do something, you run a command, something doesn't work. You can't just give up. If you give up, that's the end of your penetration testing career. So you can't move forward. So that's why I said patience is very important. Of course, curiosity is also important too. And then you have to be disciplined. You have to take out time to study. You have to create time every day actually to study, or maybe on weekends, dedicate enough time to study. If you don't give it enough time, you might not get the progress that you expect.
Thank you. I still have maybe a question around something that can make people become competitive. So you've mentioned the certifications and also the courses that people can actually take to become better. And I like the way you summarize that people should not be arguing about whether certification is important or not important. If you have the money, go do it. If you don't have the money, develop yourself in other areas. My question is, maybe there's something, these MITRE frameworks, are they useful for people in offensive security, and how can they leverage that to improve themselves?
Yes, the MITRE framework is a framework that helps both defenders and attackers likewise. It's a framework that has been collated by the MITRE Foundation after seeing how attackers have been evolving over time. There are certain behaviors that attackers exhibit. These behaviors have been summarized as tactics and techniques also, which you'll find present in the MITRE attack framework. I've used it a lot in my role. Sometimes in order to emulate an attacker, you need to go back to the MITRE attack framework and look at the techniques and the tactics that those attackers use. Let's say an attacker in the healthcare, an attacker that usually targets companies in the healthcare industry. So you go to the MITRE attack framework, you look at attackers that have been known to target organizations in the healthcare space. And then you look at the techniques and tactics that they use. And then you're working as a security professional within a health, an organization in the health space. You're working as a security professional, as an offensive security professional. And then you can just transfer that knowledge. You look at the tactics and say, let me try emulating this within my organization. You begin to build the tools, begin to gather the necessary tools, gather the necessary infrastructure that you use to emulate those threats. The MITRE attack is very important for threat emulation, within organizations.
All right, thank you. I think we're getting close to the last question. I think I have two more questions. So I think you already touched on this point, but maybe if there's something that you want to add to it, is where can people find materials or training to prepare themselves for a possible career in offensive security?
Okay. Well, I've mentioned some, but
Yeah.
there are a whole lot more. I really cannot specify. There are a lot of websites. I forgot to mention Portswigger. Portswigger, if you want to specialize in web security from the offensive perspective, you can go to Portswigger. Portswigger is one of the best resources for web security. There are resources for Active Directory. There are resources for different different technologies, different specializations. You just do a Google search. Trust me, you are going to find. You can even do a Google search, say, of beginners in offensive security, stuff like that, and you see a lot. People document a whole lot nowadays compared to before. you are not really going to struggle when you look for materials on the internet. There are lots of materials. There are materials on Reddit. If you know the popular platform called Reddit, there are materials on Twitter, also known as X now. So you can't so just do a search for what you want. Think about what you want and do a search for it, and you're going to see stuff, right? You're going to see a whole lot. I have a lot of websites in my notes. I have a note-taking tool I use because there's a whole lot of information, and sometimes I suffer from information overload. So I can't I can't keep
Yeah.
those
So
stuff in my head.
we would like if you don't mind, maybe
Okay.
when once we finish this session, once we finish this session, and I'm probably going through other part of the activities, you can help us type it into the chats, because I was trying to write some of those things, but because of time, if you can just help us type it there, people will pick it up there. The other question
Okay.
I have, I think the last question, okay, I have two more questions, sorry. One is for you to talk about the ethics of this field, right?
Hmm.
And now how people can go to jail. So I want you to talk
Oh,
about the ethics of this field. So that's first part, ethics of this field. The second thing is, help me talk to people who want to switch to cybersecurity, and maybe give them just maybe 3 steps for how they can achieve that dream.
hmm. Okay. First of all, the ethics of the profession. Uh, if you do not have a signed contract with an entity, that's an entity could be an individual or an organization, to carry out a penetration testing exercise, you are not allowed to. You're not even allowed to think about it. Well, I mean, nobody knows what you think about, but you're not allowed to start firing traffic or tools at companies' infrastructure because you can, right? You don't do it because you can do it because you're authorized. Um, it can get very messy and complicated if you start to try your hands out because you just learned a new skill. You want to quickly test it out and see how good you are, right? And then you go and look for one company. Just do a Google search. If you see one company and it looks like maybe their website is not secure, you start probing around. Before you know it, you start doing stuff. You can get really messy because sometimes even the stuff you're doing, you start getting out of scope of even the company that you had in mind, and then you have third parties, so you start testing things that out of the scope you were not even allowed to test in the first place. So that's how messy it can get. So the general advice is that you just have to maintain due diligence. You have to make sure that you have a signed contract. You can't start a pen test without even a signed contract, even if you have been engaged unofficially that we are looking at you doing this. You can't start it until you have a signed contract. Only when you have a signed contract, you can officially commence that engagement. Um, Testing company infrastructure that you're not allowed to is like you going to someone's house and checking under their bags, boxes, opening their doors without permission. That's exactly what it looks like. So it's like more like you're a burglar or you are a criminal. That's how you're going to be seen. For people who are transitioning to cyber, trust me, it is very doable. Many people have done it. It's not a big deal. Some people might make it look like it is so difficult. If you keep thinking about it that way, you won't even start. So just start. It is doable. What I would advise is that you should look at what you want to do. Do you want to do web security? Do you want to do exploit development? But generally in offensive security, it's always good to have a solid knowledge of networking, uh, and also some operating system like Linux. So you could learn, networking, try and learn Linux, try and learn how to use the Linux command line. unavoidable. It's unavoidable as a penetration tester. Then you would also need to pick up at one point or the other some kind of programming skill. I know they said that programming is not so important in cyber, but it's important in penetration testing. So you would need to pick it up. The earlier you pick it up, the better. The earlier you pick up programming skills as a penetration tester, the better for you. So that you can analyze software, analyze source codes, and be able to advise organizations on what exactly they should be doing. So networking, operating systems, Linux command line, and then some programming language, maybe Python or any other one. And of course, there are courses that you could take, free courses, completely free for all these I mentioned. They are on YouTube. There are books free that you could also get, articles that are also free that you could also get to just surround yourself with and start something.
Thank you so much. You know, I also just want to mention, in case you are in Nigeria, there is the Cybercrime Prohibition and Prevention Act, and basically documents things that you can be charged for, and the penalty, whether financial or jail term. So, like Cyril said, the fact that you found a vulnerability does not mean, the fact that you find a door open doesn't mean that you can walk into that door. So please, like I said, the discipline itself is very attractive, but you do not have the right to do anything. Even in your own organization, you do not have that right. If you are so curious and interested, create your own lab. In this age, you can actually have a very powerful desktop or laptop, maybe 8 gig and a terabyte, right? And then have your virtual machines, Linux. In fact, if you, Kali Linux is something that is available online free. So you can test everything, you can do everything there. Operating systems, you can download as many as possible and put them in a VM on your lab. So Metasploitable is there also, you know. You can do all of those things in a lab. Please do not see a system and say you want to try it, because it's very tempting. So the floor is open for questions. Just drop your question in the chat. There's one question there now which I'm going to read, but before I read that question, surprisingly, Cyril, you mentioned everything you have mentioned so far, or all the certifications and organization that you mentioned so far. You did not mention EC Council, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with. I was like, this CEH that we know, CEH is like the, you know, I remember my attempt, right, in sense of self-study was, I think, CEH version 3 or 4. That's what I started, you know, started with. But in all of this, your recommendation, you didn't mention that, and probably somebody has CHE and they say, wow, maybe I need to go and get another. Mention it.
I actually forgot to mention it. I actually forgot. Like
Okay.
I said, I didn't have everything in my head. I was just mentioning off the top of my head. So yes, EC Council has a lot of courses, and there are also others that you can also.
Yeah. Thank you.
So,
all right. If you have any question, please drop it. There's a question from someone. It says, why does organizations feel a penetration or a pen testing engagement? So a company feel a pen tester engagement, or a pen tester did not do a great job if they fail to acquire admin privilege or compromise some level of credentials. Why do they feel that way?
This question, right? I've had this discussion before with some peers. I used to tell them that, what if you do a pen test and you didn't find anything? What is possible? the way people expect pension testers to find something is very funny. It's as if they kept something there for you to find, or you're supposed to discover what does not exist. So what I say is just do a thorough job and show us proof that what you did was thorough. If you do a pension test and you didn't find much, let there be maybe a section you could put that in the appendix with some kind of proof of the test that you did, and you're showing them that you did these things and you didn't find anything. You might want to add that as maybe a separate document or something. I don't know how you want to do it, but it's doable. It's possible for you not to find something, but still communicate to the organization that you did a good job. Not finding anything is not such a bad thing. It means the organization did a good job of securing their infrastructure. So don't see it like maybe I don't think people should see it like you didn't do a great job because you did not compromise. It's all about, remember that pen tests are time limited engagements. You don't have all day, you don't have all year testing infrastructure, but attackers have infinite resources in quotes. So just do what you can do within the time you have and let them know that you did a thorough job within that limited time.
I like your question because again, if there's nothing there, you can't go and manufacture something that is something.
Exactly.
Except if the organization is saying, we know we have, so go and find it. But I think if you show your working and you have a proper documentation, I think that that may help. Except maybe the engagement scope again is that we have, maybe they really want to test the tester, and they have kept some admin somewhere, and maybe it's password that is
exactly. So if that's the case, that defeats the objective of a pension test. In fact, that's of little value to the organization. If you employed a pension tester to test the pension tester and you paid money for that engagement, that's a waste of investment actually. You're not employing the tester to find vulnerabilities. You're employing the tester to test their competence. So it defeats the whole purpose.
Thank you. There's no other question in the chat. I will go straight ahead to the other. I think I didn't move my screen, so but all of the questions that I want to ask, I think we've touched on all of them. Yeah, we've touched on all of them. So we started 2 weeks ago. Well, yeah, 2 weeks ago. Oh no, last week, a CSMG weekly masterclass, which really is to bring, for instance, we've spoken about penetration testing, is to find someone who is willing to, to teach, maybe introduction to penetration testing. Unfortunately, the person that was scheduled for this week told me that he has an exam he's writing, and therefore he was unable to honor the invitation. So I would be looking for another person for next week. And in case you're on the call and you think you can teach people something that please reach out to me, and I will schedule you. Some of these things are opportunity for you to actually show your commitment to the field. If you tell someone that you have a video on a particular course, they can't do that. In fact, the fact that you have the video and you can even tell them in the interview can register. They may not even go and check. Can register in their mind that this person is committed to the field. So if you think you know something, I'd like to share that this thing that I've done and I've learned, I would like to share to people. Create digital footprints. That's what I advise people. Let people be able to find you and find you in the field in which you are looking for opportunity in. So I hope to find someone this week. On the right, in getting the field, the community busy, we found some programs that we'll like to share. Cybersecurity tips, cybersecurity brains, which is questions, cybersecurity news, stories, and secure family tips. Essentially, is to engage the community and give people opportunity to either volunteer so that they can have some footprints on what they are doing in cyber. So if you are interested in maybe leading in one of these areas, There's a lady that is already leading that space, and she shares materials on the community. Nabilat, she's committed to creating content for any of these areas. So we also thought that families are there, children are now on the internet. Let's provide an opportunity for parents to be able to also secure their children online. The last slide, I'll come back to the question. I saw someone scribbling on the screen. So next edition is on the 8th of March. I don't know whether it's in people's mind, but we've had only men coming for this Saturday program. So or speaking, the next guest was supposed to be a lady. Unfortunately, she got back to me that she's bereaved and she will not be able to honor the invitation. So I will be looking forward to filling that gap because I don't want to move the person in on the 22nd back to 28th. I will be looking to fill the gap for 8th of March, and I'll probably be looking for a lady to fill that gap so that it will not look like cybersecurity is a field for only men. We have a YouTube page or channel and a LinkedIn group. All of these videos, you can find them uploaded. So the ones that we have had from January till this time, today, we will upload them on the. So you can go there to rewatch and also to pick some things from what we have shared. The group, we are hoping that people get more active and particular about creating your digital footprint, especially in a platform where even employers are part of that space. Create some digital footprint, right? There's someone that writes often on the LinkedIn group, let it be something that you are committed to, just to show and demonstrate. If you read, do something privately, come share it on that platform. It's not that you are sharing for anybody to know that you are just to create that commitment, and so that people can easily find you, that you are available, and you're committed to the opportunity that you are seeking. I think that's okay. There are some questions and I will read them, but we're really done with our program. So James is asking, are there other skills one can marry with penetration testing? So Siri, if you can see the charts, I think you can address the question that is in the chat there.
Okay. Yes, of course. You can have as many skills as you want. You can develop as many skills as you want. You can, like personally, I have skills in penetration testing. I also have skills in networking and cloud also, and I have some other skills too. So you don't have to, the process of being a pen tester actually means that you might, in the process, have some other skills actually, because you're going to be trying to understand other kinds of technologies, how they interact and work together. So you might pick interest in something else. You might be doing pen tests on cloud environments, and in the process pick up cloud technology skills. You might be doing pen tests on Active Directory and then pick up Active Directory skills, and you never know.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm seeing another question with skills. Okay, when looking at cybersecurity as a career, what are the lucrative opportunities within the field other than pen testing hacking, which is mostly sold to the public? Okay. Well, you have incident response, security operations, incident response. You have malware analysis. Some of these are digital forensics also. Some of these skills, they are also very valuable. It could also be a SIM engineer. It could be a security analyst. Your role would be to analyze patterns, triage incidents, and then find a solution to a cybersecurity incident. So as a security analyst, you'll be dealing with endpoint detection and response, antivirus, security information and events management systems, the ones that you have dashboards that you can analyze, attacks and all that. So those are other fields but these are not offensive security fields. Of course, these are more of the defensive parts. And then you have GRC too, governance, risk and compliance, which is also valuable, helping to build a security program and integrate the business with the cybersecurity aspect of it. So
Excellent.
there's
Thank
a
you,
lot
sir.
for
Thank you.
everyone.
Yeah. One other area is maybe cloud, because of, everybody is now one way or the other present in the cloud. So that's also another area that I think people who may want to exploit may look at. I also think it's close to penetration testing, which is software security or application security. I think that's because the vulnerabilities that I mentioned earlier, that 40,000 vulnerabilities were published in 2024. And in fact, in January alone, there was over 4,000 vulnerabilities that were published. And these vulnerabilities are software vulnerabilities. So you can imagine, maybe by now, maybe we have over 9,000. I do the analysis every month, and they are increasing actually. In fact, the one for 2024 was about 30% increase on the one on 2023. So you can imagine what 2025 will be with the advent of a lot of things going online. So there are opportunity actually in the field, but what is more important, I feel, is that you need to know it. You need to know your stuff, whatever field, right? You need to know it, because it is more than I am in cybersecurity. It is what you can do. And just there are a lot of materials, there are a lot of things that could be distracting. The growth plan can help you to concentrate your thoughts in a particular area that is of interest to you, and put your time into it, and discipline to commit to a part and also see things through. If you're tired, leave it and come back, but don't abandon it. Thank you so much, Cyril. I appreciate your time spending this evening with us, and thanks everyone for joining us for today's edition. By the grace of God, we will see again if we don't see on midweek, we'll see again on the 8th of March with another super interesting guest. Hopefully this time will be a lady. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Micah. Bye, everyone.